So the last video I made was about the rarest whistle in my collection, and this time I am making a video about the oldest whistle in my collection. And that is this one here. This is a Metropolitan Police whistle from 1887. J. Hudson and Co., the famous whistle manufacturer, which is today Acme Whistles, started making police whistles for the London police forces and then later other police forces and other companies and businesses and organizations around 1882, 1883 is when they started doing that. That's when they started making whistles for the London Metropolitan Police when they were looking for a replacement for the old hand rattles that they were carrying around. At the time, when police were patrolling the streets, when they were pounding their beats, they had a like a bird scarer type hand rattle that they would wave around to call for backup. But the problem is the rattles are very heavy. They're not very loud. You know, they can be drowned out by carriage noises, by footsteps, just ordinary everyday traffic noises. It's not very useful. And you know, the policeman's got all this other stuff to carry. I mean, he's got his handcuffs, he's got his truncheon, he's got his notepad, he's got his, if he's going around at night, he's got his lantern or his lamp to carry. And you know, if he got into a fight with somebody, then what would happen is the mugger could actually grab the rattle and beat the officer over the head with it. And so the police gave up and they said, we need to find something better. And what they came up with was the idea of using a whistle. Now, in the 1800s, for the most part, whistles were basically seen as toys. You know, kids use them. They play around with them. You know, they're cute little instruments. They never really thought of them as, you know, useful everyday objects. And then the police said, you know, we need something that's small, that's tough, that's loud. And so they asked the public through the newspapers, through like, you know, London Times and such, and they came up with this idea of using a whistle, and they had a contest. And Joseph Hudson from Birmingham came up with this, and he started making them at his tiny little factory. I think it had less than 20 employees at the time. At 84 Buckingham Street in Birmingham. And they only lasted there for a very short period of time. I think it was less than 2 years. Because the police, when they decided that they wanted Mr. Hudson to make their whistles, suddenly had to fulfill literally thousands and thousands and thousands of orders all at once. And his tiny little factory couldn't make them all, so he had to sell his factory on Buckingham Street and move to Bar Street, which is what we have here, 131 Bar Street. And they made whistles there from 1885 until about 1900, give or take. And so this whistle is from 1887, so you date it by the font, how it's laid out, the address on the whistle, that's how you date them. And despite the fact that it is now, at the time of this video, 137 years old, it still works. And there you are. A 137-year-old Victorian-era police whistle. The oldest one in my collection.